A task force appointed by the New York State Education Commissioner, John King Jr., is to report next month on ways to improve the integrity of the state's educational testing system. New York has thus far escaped cheating scandals like the one that exploded in Atlanta, but troubling new developments have shown weaknesses in New York's testing system that need to be fixed. The annual standardized tests given in the lower grades and the regents examination that high school students must pass to graduate now play a crucial role in decisions about how schools are rated and how principals are evaluated. In the future, teachers will also be judged in part on how students perform on state tests. With the tests counting for more, attempts to tamper with the results of the state tests are becoming a problem this year, when it ended the practice of having schools rescore the regents' exams of students who fell just below the passing level. The intent was to make sure that students weren't failed by mistake, but an analysis by the Times showed that lots of students were getting the minimum score needed to pass, which suggested cheating. The state has ended rescoring by schools, but it permits superintendents to correct errors. That change does not cure the far bigger problem. The regents' exams are typically scored in the same school where they are given, often by a student's own teacher. The state education department has allowed this practice to go on because the exams are given late in the academic year, often just days before graduation, so that it is inconvenient to have the schools grade the tests. The threat to the integrity of the results is obvious. For the regents to be taken seriously, this practice must end. The state needs to find a way to have the exams scored by a neutral party. This could be accomplished by administering tests online or scanning them into computers and having them graded elsewhere. Scoring of tests for the lower grades varies from district to district. In New York City, they are administered at the schools and sent to regulated neutral sites for grading. But this is an expensive procedure that costs the city between $20 million and $25 million a year. It all depends. If all districts are going to take this approach, the state should assume the costs. Similarly, if the state wants school systems to use inexpensive test validation procedures like computer erasure analysis for fraud, it must not foist the tests on strangers. It must not foist the costs onto other underfinanced schools. Even in the difficult fiscal climate of today, the state has to ensure that student test results are reliable and valid. Cutting deals with criminal informants may at times be a necessary, if unsavory, part of law enforcement, but the benefits must equal the costs. And it is not clear that the FBI's Boston office has mastered that balance. A police wiretap referred to in documents filed in a Boston court shows the Mafia, Capo Mark Rosetti, telling his FBI handler that he knows he will be protected for the crimes he has been committing with the knowledge of his handler. The crimes he was talking about include running a heroin and loan sharking ring for which Massachusetts indicted and locked him up last year. He is also being investigated for 6 murders. The Boston Globe reports that the Massachusetts State Police only learned about this to the FBI through the wiretaps of Mr. Rosetti. The FBI has long used confidential informants and protected them when they committed crimes on the justification that criminals in league with